It's Allie and I'm super excited to be back here for day 10 of December Daily. I will be sharing my traveler's notebook from my trip in the next couple of days. I had some other things I had to work on today before I can dive into finishing this up. You can see I have writing in here. I have a few things that I've just kind of slipped in. I plan to be printing pictures and bringing it all together. Hopefully I will be able to work on this tomorrow. I just had some other deadlines, things that I had to take care of today, but I did want to get in a day 10 story, which as you can probably imagine, is about coming back and recovering from a trip. We got back last night, which was on the 9th, and later in the evening, and then today's just been kind of figuring out what the heck is going on. So I'm doing a super simple story today, which was part of my plan. I took a picture of the mantle downstairs. This is what it looks like downstairs in my house. I printed it with a white border. Originally, this is the card that was in here with "Thank you for these December memories." What I decided to do is, rather than handwrite my journaling on here, I wanted to print it out on paper, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually hand cut out this around the wreath here, and then cut this off and add it onto the bottom and the top. So this will be the background for my card. This is somewhat similar to something that I did in the Product Play 2 workshop, which you will see coming up, where I cut out the large wreath. In this case, I'm just going to cut out the small wreath, and I'm not sure how detailed I am actually going to go on that, but we will see how that goes. So essentially what I need to do is trim this card. I'm also going to add the number 10 on here. I had the 10 chipboard, but I'm thinking I might use the, there were some gold stickers, these guys right here, gold number stickers that were included, that are in the main kit. And I was kind of thinking maybe I would just put them right on top of here, or on this card. So I'm thinking a little bit about that. This just didn't seem, there wasn't as much of a spot where I felt like putting that. So we'll see how that ends up. So what I need to do is trim this card, and I want it to be, a lot of times I put my finger down right here to try to see, you know, what is actually 3 inches. One of the things that you can do, and what I did, is I used the digital version of this card to figure out my placement. So I knew that I wanted to cut that out, so I left space for that, and that I wanted to add this part on the bottom. Actually, I'm going to date stamp this first. So this story is actually from today, and I'm doing this midway through the day, so I'm identifying a story. Just, you know, the story is mainly the overarching story of getting back home, and now I have a cold, of course, which that's how that goes, and getting set on my to-do list and kind of settling back into being home, and then our plan to be home for the rest of the holiday season, which is super nice too. Okay, so I trimmed that off the bottom. I'm going to adhere this on here. So yes, I could have done this whole thing just digitally. You know, this could have been on this card, and then I could have printed it out. But I like the idea of doing a little bit of both and incorporating the printed pieces of the kit. So super love being home. And then I want to cut out this. And these scissors are probably just a little bit too small. I have another pair that I want to use. I just did a quick cut there so that I can then go in and do a tighter cut around some of these. Obviously it's going to end up being something like that. So kind of figuring out how far in do I actually want to go. And how is this going to end up looking here? This is kind of what I did with that other one too. And it can be just kind of going around. Maybe that makes more sense than going in maybe a couple of them I go in individually. I'd say it's up to you in terms of how much time you want to spend. I'm going to just come back up here like this and then go in and pull a few pieces out here. That one ended up being, feels like it's too sharp. This definitely is better if you have small scissors, like these micro tip scissors that have a really tight point in them. I'd say that definitely helps this process if you wanted to cut these out. And I'm definitely not, there is no sense of trying to make anything perfect on here. One thing I did want to say though is I know a lot of times people, if you start feeling behind, that can feel frustrating, but don't forget that this is not, the project isn't really about doing something every day. It can be if you want it to be, but it can also just be about capturing a story every day that you bring together at another time, like a time that works better for you and your family and your schedule, rather than putting, you know, pressure on yourself that you need to do something every day. Something to think about. I know that people put different comments about things like that on the message board, and just want to give the reminder that it can be at a pace that works for you rather than some pace that you know, feel like it's supposed to be. There's no supposed to be's in this project, okay? It can be what it needs to be for you. Just like for me this year, I wanted to have an opportunity to travel and needed to adapt the way that I was doing things because of that. All right, so this is a cute way to just do something a little bit extra on there. You know, totally up to you in terms of how you would want to approach something like this, but I think that makes me happy in terms of how I ended up getting that on there. I think this one little piece though, I want to cut it. I think I'm just going to cut that one off. There we go. And you can staple it on there if you feel like you need to have a staple. Sometimes I like having a little staple in there. I'm also going to see if there is a different other card that might make more sense for this day. Let's see if I have another card already put in here, another 3x4 card that is a sentiment, maybe even the holiday spirit shine bright. That one, actually, I think let's do that. And I'm gonna move my thank you for these December memories back here, and I can adjust that again. I think that this is gonna be, I kind of like that framing, or I don't even know if framing is the right word, but sandwiched in between these 2 days, right? Sandwiched in between day 4 and day 9 is gonna be my, my traveler's notebook. And so I intentionally had the same journal cards be, you know, or the same, page protector setup be there with these 3 pockets. So this one then flows into the traveler's notebook, which will flow into this page. And again, also a super nice reminder that you don't have to have super complicated and artsy kinds of things. I have more of those that are coming up, which are things that I did for my foundation pages, but it's so nice to remember that you can do a photo and a story and a card, right? That it doesn't have to be all this other craziness. And actually, I'm not even going to put a number on there because I have December 10th right on there. And I'm just going to go with that for my number for the day. So that's a look at day 10, and I will, like I said, hopefully be working on my traveler's notebook tomorrow and be able to share that with you soon.